The perfect morning routine for a productive working day. What you do first thing in the morning will set the mood for the entire day to follow. If you have a strong, productive start to your day, then you're going to find it much easier to dive straight into work and get lots done. But if you allow procrastination to creep in at this early point, or if you engage in unhealthy habits, then you're going to find it's much harder to get work done. And this becomes doubly important if you're working from home. With no commute, you have every opportunity to take things slow and to forget about things like grooming. This makes a huge difference to your headspace going forward and seriously limits how productive you're likely to be as the day progresses. This is why the most productive and successful people in the world all have morning routines. In this presentation, we'll discuss some tips to help you create yours. Be realistic. The first and most important step is to make sure that any morning routine you devise is realistic. What that means is that you shouldn't try to come up with something that is extremely elaborate or lengthy, and certainly not to start with. If you've never been able to get up before 7 a.m., then what is the point in including that as part of your morning routine? If you have never stuck at meditation, then why claim you're going to do 30 minutes every morning? It is far better to have a simpler morning routine relying on a few rules, but that you will actually stick to. Use apps. There are plenty of apps out there, such as habit tracking apps, that are designed to help you stick to your goals and plans. Try using a few to see if they can help. Some key things to try. With all that said, here are some popular options to include in your morning routine. Exercise. This helps wake you up and encourages good habits. Meditation. Even 5 minutes will let you take control of your day. Minimal screen time. Many people believe they shouldn't look at any electronic devices for at least the first hour after waking up. Time outdoors. Spending some time outside will help set your body clock. To-dos. Writing a to-do list first thing is a great way to stay on top of things you need to accomplish. Try incorporating any of these that resonate with you and see how it changes your productivity during the day that follows. The top tools and apps for getting more work done from home. Working from home is a mixed blessing. On the one hand, you'll now have the freedom to work from the comfort of your own four walls. You can drink as much coffee as you like, and you don't have a commute. But on the flip side, you're surrounded by distractions. You can't easily speak to your colleagues, and you need to manage your time entirely by yourself. That's where the top apps and gadgets can come in handy for helping you to do more. Let's talk about some of the best. Asana. For managing big projects with a team of collaborators, tools like Basecamp and Asana are invaluable. Asana will let you create new tasks, assign people, and share updates with collaborators. You can add attachments too, and there are apps available for all major platforms. Slack. Slack is essentially WhatsApp for teams. Sending an email to ask small questions is time-consuming and certainly not optimal. So Slack exists to let you speak to colleagues as you might do by tapping them on the shoulder in a real office setting. Watch out though, Slack can be a time sink. Todoist. If you tend to work solo, then Todoist is a similarly indispensable tool. This is a to-do app that will let you create tasks for yourself and set reminders. It's available on all major platforms, and there's even an Apple Watch app. The best feature of Todoist is the natural language interpretation. This lets you say things like, take the trash out every Monday, which will then automatically renew on Monday with a due date for that day. Notion. Notion is a note-taking app that is significantly more powerful than most of the competition. That's because each note can become a database, a flowchart, or a page. You can embed images, videos, and even websites. And you can even export your notes as HTML websites. The whole tool is far more like a content management system in terms of what it can do, and many people refer to it as their second brain. Freedom. For those who struggle not to get distracted by the web without a boss breathing over their shoulder, Freedom is an app that lets you block specific apps and web pages. That means you can't access Facebook during work hours, which can instantly quadruple your work output. These 5 hacks will make working from home much more enjoyable. Working from home can be a mixed blessing. For some, this is an ideal way to spend more time in their own environment, to get away from irritating colleagues, and to get rid of the commute. For others, this can feel a little like being under house arrest. Here are some tips that will help to ensure you fall into that former camp. Adopt flexi time. Depending on your precise work arrangements, working from home probably means you now have the luxury of deciding how and when you wish to work. That means you can get up early and finish at 2 p.m., or you can have the morning off and work into the evening. Mess around with what works best for you. Listen to music. Music can make a huge difference to how long and dull a day feels, and it can also help to keep you focused by blocking out distracting sounds. Invest in some good noise-canceling headphones. Watch movies and TV. This might sound counterproductive, but in fact, you can actually watch movies and TV while working at the same time. This is a strategy that Tim Ferriss has been known to use, and that is useful for distracting that more creative part of your brain that doesn't enjoy dull work. The key is to watch something you already know very well and to take the sound off. This makes it a background distraction that you can gaze at occasionally while touch typing. It's just enough stimulation to prevent you from getting pulled away from your work. Surround yourself with inspiration. Inspiration is one of the key and most important tools for getting more work done. If you can bring yourself to feel inspired by the work you're doing, then it won't be a struggle to get yourself to start it and see it through. What can help in this regard, then, is to surround yourself with things you personally find inspiring. That might mean examples of great works in your field, or just images of the people who inspire you. Spend time with others. With your office time gone, you might find yourself going a bit mad from the social isolation. A good solution is to spend lunchtimes with others or to meet after you finish work. You've traded time with irritating colleagues for time with the people you love. It's an upgrade. Why you should tackle the biggest challenge first. You sit down at your computer, boot it up, and take a look at your to-do list. What do you find? Several big projects and a slew of smaller tasks that need doing. That's before you've even opened your emails. So what do you do? Which projects to get started first? The answer? Whichever task is the biggest and most unappealing. This is what is referred to as eating the frog, which in turn comes from a Mark Twain quote. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. Another way to look at this is like so. It's better to have a big project behind you than in front of you. The issue with trying to tackle smaller projects and tasks first is that they have a tendency of building up and running over. If you tackle a long list of to-dos, then you're going to find yourself having to tick a lot of things off before you ever sit down to work. This can leave you exhausted, but it also often means you won't actually have time to accomplish much else come the end of the day. As the day goes on, you also lose willpower and energy, meaning that you will tend to spend longer on those bigger projects. There's now a very real threat of it not getting done. Usually, the biggest and most unpleasant task is the one that will provide the most value. This is the one that clients pay the most for, or that is the most important for your employers. Thus, if you complete this task first, You know that you've accomplished the thing that is most valuable. You've done the actual work. This is also a great tool for building and developing the kind of willpower you need to stay productive and self-motivated. There is an exception to this rule, though, of course. That is when you have something that is urgent to do. If a task has a shorter deadline and is something you can't push back, then you should complete this first to avoid getting in trouble. Then the next task will be the biggest and most challenging. Everything else goes on your to-do list.